It's time now for our Entre Nous segment, and today we're focusing on the Angoulême International Comic Books Festival. For more on this, Solange Moujon joins me here in the studio. Hey there, Solange. Great to see you. So we've found out that the 2026 edition of this festival has been canceled, but you're saying that that actually wasn't as big as a surprise as we might have thought it would be.
Yeah, it was absolutely not a surprise. It was actually expected. But the December 1st announcement really did sort of put to rest any lingering speculation. Now, this cancellation is bigger than just, oh, there won't be a 2026 edition or the 53rd edition. This is a cancellation due to a boycott by authors. It is significant on a much broader scale because of different, somewhat philosophical visions that are clashing here. One of art versus commerce, one of breaking the silence against sexism and abuse, one of refusing toxic management, of collectively standing together to say no more, even if it does mean that for the authors that they are essentially or potentially self-sabotaging their livelihoods at the festival. So all of these things are important to keep in mind as we go through what exactly happened. And it's also essential to note that the weight that this festival has. Angoulême is for comics, or for bande dessinée, as we say here in French, in France. What Cannes is for film, or Avignon is for theater. It is the largest event for comics in France, and the second largest in the EU, and the third largest in the world after Italy and Japan's festivals. Angoulême brings in a lot of economic activity and global attention for both the authors, but also for this small southwestern city of 41,000 people, which sees its population grow to over 200,000 during the four-day event. It has been going on since 1974. So, what went wrong and who's to blame? Well, on December 1st, the company that produces the festival, 9e Art Plus, they sent out a communiqué via their lawyers that blamed the public funding bodies for pulling out. But the communiqué did not make any mention of why the public funding, which amounts in total to about 6 million euros or 40 to 50% of the festival's funding, why that money was pulled. But the mayor of Angoulême, he explained why they were pulling funding on November 20th.
There can be no festival without authors and no festival without publishers. It's the authors, together with their publishing houses, who make this festival what it is. Without them and without festival goers, there is simply no festival. And without a festival, there's no public funding.
So this is where we get to the heart of the issues that really caused this boycott and this cancellation. Some 2,000 authors, plus publishing houses and unions, they signed a petition to boycott the festival. They accused the organizing company and its head, Franck Bondou, of toxic management, opaque financing, nepotism, confusing public and private interests. These complaints, they have been ongoing for years, actually, as this company has run the festival since 2007 and actually had its contract extended despite the complaints.
And so it was after that contract renewal that things really hit a fever pitch, because there was a collective of women authors who were boycotting. Is that correct?
Yeah, and some authors are actually calling this boycott a girl-cott, which is actually the term that some 285 women authors used in a letter to the editor to the paper L'Humanité, where they explained that there needs to be massive changes with how the festival is put on, but also how the industry treats women on a whole. They're calling it a Me Too BD moment of sorts. And there are a number of sources of long festering anger. There's the fact that in 2016, 30 authors were up for a top prize. All of them were men. Then in 2023, there were accusations of the festival putting on an exhibit that promotes pedophilia. It was canceled. And then finally, in what may have been the straw that broke the camel's back about sexism, an employee pressed charges against a colleague for allegedly drugging and raping her. She was then laid off by the organizing company. They say that's not why she was let go, but she has since filed a wrongful termination case. So all of these events and a number of others, like the extended contract or the choice of a fast food chain Quick as a sponsor, all of this led to the some 2,000 authors to sign the petition to boycott.
I imagine, though, there's a double-edged sword here. If this boycott is going to harm potentially the careers and the exposure of these female authors.
Female and male, yeah. And there is little doubt that the cancellation is a financial blow to the entire comic sector, not to mention to the local economy. But at the same time, it also shows a force of sort of a collective group saying enough is enough, of together pushing for something different, better, be it in regard to how the festival is run, but also in a hope to change the industry, which in some ways is doing really well, at least compared to other book genres. But in recent years, so this is an added frustration, there's also been a slump. In 2024, there was a 9% drop in the volume of sales and a 4% drop in profits. We see this slump, too, in how few authors manage to make a decent living with comics. So this adds to a general sort of ras-le-bol or the fact that authors have had it with what they see as injustices in the industry.
So then do we know what's the future hold for the Angoulême Festival?
Well, the festival was supposed to occur from January 29th to February 1st. And there is some discussion of there being an off festival without there being an in one. But some authors say that would actually weaken the boycott. So it's really in 2027 when the real first test will come into play for this disliked company, as they are contracted to organize it in 2027. Now, even if they don't, there is a new festival to rebuild, one where authors are calling for more inclusivity, more free events, less focus on profits, less sexism, a space for authors to have more of a say about the festival, all of which are strong, important goals, but they have to be made into reality.
Solange Moujon always bringing us the inside scoop on what's happening in France. Thank you so much. And that's it for this edition of Entre Nous. You're watching France 24.